Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Here, I would like to share you some information related to ESP Teaching Material Development. But before that, I'm Hendry. I am from Magister of English Education in University of Muhammadiyah Purwokerto. Okay, now let's jump right in. So yeah, ESP Teaching Material Development. So for a long time, English has been the main language of international communication, which has become an integral part of most modern professions. Students studying for different professions were taught more or less general English, which was not always very helpful when applied in a real situation or a different area of specialism. And then to be able to communicate successfully in English, the students of different professions are taught English for specific purposes, or we call it as ESP. And ESP is generally defined as a language teaching area requiring careful research and design of pedagogical materials and activities for identifiable groups of learners within spatial learning contexts. And ESP teaching should be linked to a specific discipline, make use of methodology that differs from that used in English for specific purposes teaching. And ESP is an important area in English language teaching today. And there is a large variety of professions for which tailor-made courses and materials are utmost importance for effective and task-based learning. Consequently, the role of ESP teachers, at least to some extent, differ from the role of general English teacher. It usually involves need analysis and syllabus design in addition to material selection. Okay, so material developments, learning materials form in an important parts of most English teaching program. Material means anything which is used to help to teach language learner. It is the sources which can be used in teaching and learning process. Materials can be in the form of workbook and then cassette, CD-ROM, video, and then photocopied handout, newspaper, a paragraph written on a whiteboard, or anything which present or inform about the language being learned. And Tomlinson gives some basic principles of good English learning material. The first one is material should achieve impact. Yeah, impact is achieved when materials have a noticeable effect on learners. That is when the learner's curiosity, interest, and attention are attracted. Then materials can achieve impact through novelty, such as unusual topics, illustration, and activities. And then variety, such as breaking up the monotony of a unit routine with an unexpected activity, or using many different types of sources, using a number of different instructor voice on a cassette. The next one is through attractive presentation, such as the use of attractive colors, lots of white space, and then use of the photographs. And the last one is through appealing content, such as topic of interest to the target learners, topics which offer the possibility of learning something new, engaging stories, unusual themes, and local difference. The second one is materials should help learners to feel at case. Materials should help learners to feel at case in a number of ways. For example, to feel more comfortable with lots of white space than they do with the materials in which lots of different activities. And yeah, almost a case with text and illustrations that they can relate to their own culture than they are with those which are culturally exotic and therefore potentially alien. And the learners are more relaxed with the materials which are obviously trying to help them to learn than they are with material which are always testing them. The third is materials should help learners to develop confidence. So yeah, relaxed and self-confident learners will learn faster than they are not relaxed and they do not have self-confidence. Fourth, learners should perceive what is being taught as relevant and useful. In ESP materials, it is relatively teaching points are relevant and useful by relating them to know learner interests and to real-life tasks which the learners need or might need to perform in the target language. Fifth, materials should require and facilitate learner self-investment. And then materials should provide learners with opportunities to use the target language to achieve communicative purposes. And materials should provide opportunities for outcome feedback. Okay, so here material development procedure in ESP. But before that, material development is a typical feature of ESP courses, mainly because of the attempt to overteaching material which fits specific subject area and specific needs of a certain group of students. And course book tailored to the needs of a specific group of students are not likely to be available since publishers are understandably reluctant to purchase materials for limited markets. There are cases when suitable materials are available on the market, but they are not easy or affordable to buy. Another reason for writing ESP teaching materials is simply enhancing the reputation of an institution or a teacher as a visible and tangible product of activity. And yeah, the majority of commercially published teaching materials available on today's market are written by the competent and experienced professional writers based on market need analysis conducted by publisher. Although these course books are systematic, thorough, well-designed, and easy to use, yet many of them lack the energy and imagination required to be considered appealing and relevant. Okay, so next is the material development procedure in ESP. The application of procedure of developing materials is described focusing on the material development for specific purposes of teaching of English. In order to develop learning materials for specific purposes, one thing that should become the starting point is the learner's need. Developing materials must begin with a need analysis in the context of ESP, determining course contents, devising materials. Okay, the first one is need analysis. Need analysis for ESP courses refers to the identification of language and skill issues in determining and refining the content for the course. The ESP teacher or course developers needed to conduct need analysis process. The need analysis process involves a target situation analysis, that is, identification of tasks, activities, and skill learners are using English for, and then what the learners should ideally know and be able to do. The second one is discourse analysis. Here, discourse analysis means the description of the language used in the above. Third, presentation situation analysis, identification of what the learners do and do not know or can or cannot do in relation to the demand of the target situation. And then the fourth one is learner factors analysis. Here, it means identification of learner factors such as their motivations, and then how they learn and their perception of their needs. And then the last one is teaching context analysis. Here, identification of factors related to the environment in which the course will run. Consideration of what realistically the ESP course and teachers can offer. And then need analysis can take a number of forms, including questionnaire, interviews, observation of interaction, and analysis of language use in the target situation. Questionnaire and interviews allow the need analyst to explore people's opinions of need, difficulties, and the importance of language skills and area. Second is determining course content and writing planning syllabus. After doing analysis, they are determining course content. Need analysis plays an important role in determining course content in ESP. And in ESP, course content include real content and career content. Real content relates to pedagogical aims such as the features of language learner will become more aware or be better able to produce, or the language skill they gain control of. Career content refers to the means of delivering the real content. These means include the use of text or activities. And analyzing the needs analysis will help in planning syllabus. In the planning syllabus, teachers or course developers make decisions about what to include in the terms of type of units, such as skill, vocabulary, genres, functions, notion, and disciplinary, professional, or cultural content. Second is item in the units such as genre, semantic sets and function, and sequencing. It is what should come first, second, and so forth, that and decision made according to consideration such as immediate or less immediate needs, level of difficulty with easier item before more difficult items, and logical flow. Next is developing material and making tasks. In ESP, teacher or course developers select and devise authentic texts as well-devised tasks. Material development in ESP, Harding in Basturman, proposed three stated. The first one is use contact text, and situation from the student's subject area. Whether they are real or simulated, they will naturally involve the language the student needs. Exploit authentic materials that students use in their specialism and do not be put off by the fact that it may not look like normal English. And make the task authentic as well as the text. Get the learners doing things with the materials that they actually need to do in their work. And evaluate course and materials. The teacher or course developer materials need to know how effective the course is. Information gained from this evaluation is useful source of data about the effectiveness of a courses. And evaluation tries to answer the questions, is it a good course? The range of meaning that can be attached to good depends on who is doing the evaluation. The teachers, learners, the owner of the school, the parents, the course designer, and etc. And determines what source of information are used to carry out an evaluation. An evaluation of a course can have many purposes, and the main ones being to assess whether to continue or discontinue the course or to bring about improvement in the course. The next one is the key aspects in ESP Material Design. Uh, According to Tomlinson, the main beliefs and principles outline the basic framework for material developments. Okay, first, material writing is most effective when it is based on thorough understanding of the needs of a particular group of students. For example, their specific language difficulties, learning objective, preferred learning styles. A process of materials writing which takes into consideration all these variables is learner-centered. Teaching contexts vary in that sometimes teachers are expected to rigidly follow a prescribed books. In some cases, teachers struggle with finding time for writing their own materials. But in general, the number of teachers who never adapt or modify and supplement the core teaching material is low. Second, teachers know and understand their students best. By becoming sensitive and responsive to their students' needs, objective, difficulties, and preferred learning styles, teachers simultaneously become materials writers and researchers. Third, teachers need a grounding. For example, basic knowledge or training in material writing. Learning how to effectively write teaching materials should be an inseparable part of every teacher's training process. The process of writing materials, in fact, teach one to develop criteria for evaluating materials produced by the others. By learning to create materials, by learning to create materials, teachers reduce their dependency on published material and develop professionally. And then all teachers teach themselves. When no choice is provided, there are cases when teachers have to teach against the grain. Producing effective materials minimize the chance of the teacher being forced to teach using a methodology that contradicts their personal teaching philosophy. And then fifth, trialing and evaluation are vital to success of any materials. Since the learner are user of the materials, their opinion is very important and their feedback should be always welcome. This is easy to implement in practice when the teacher uses his or her own materials, whereas with printed materials, usually there are trials in which teachers rather than the learners provide the feedback. And then apart from the selection of appropriate language, responding to the needs and interests of the students and applying effective learning strategies, Bernard and Zema also suggest paying special attention to the following aspects when preparing ESP materials. Okay, the first one is a background, experience, and knowledge about ESP specialty of the teachers who would be using them. And then developing the teaching materials according to guidelines which have been indicated in the course syllabus. And then ensuring that materials allow for personal preference and modification by the teachers, and providing guidelines and templates to at least experienced teachers to use and develop materials. And the last one, ideally, designing materials so as to follow for page a partial change to be made. Okay, so now we come to the sequence of ESP material production. According to the most common ESP course scenario, in case of available teaching materials, those materials are evaluated and if considered suitable for the specific ESP courses, they are selected, implemented, and afterward revised and then reviewed. However, in case the material are not available or not suitable for a certain ESP course, new teaching materials are developed either from scratch or from authentic texts. Or alternatively, authentic materials or material published for other ESP areas are adapted. And then finally, these newly created or adapted materials are implemented, piloted, and reviewed. And then Tomlinson summarized the process of materials writing in the following 5-step sequence. First, identification of a need to fulfill a problem to solve by creation of material. Then exploration of the area of need or problem in terms of what language, what meaning, what function, what skill, and so on. And then contextual realization of the proposed new materials by the finding of suitable ideas, context, or text which to work. And then pedagogical realization of materials by finding of appropriate exercise and activities and the writing of appropriate instruction to use. And then physical production of material involving consideration of layout, type, size, visual reproduction, type length, and so on. And then when writing materials, most teachers move in this direction, starting from identification of need for materials to their eventual use in a classroom. And then according to Hutchinson and Waters, materials design should start with by determining their purpose, or asking the questions what the material are supposed to do. The models for ESP materials designs they offer the consist of four elements: input, context, contents, language, and tasks. The input can be any piece of communication data such as text, video, dialogue, and many more that those are relevant to the needs identified, which provide stimulus material for activities, new language item, correct models of language use, topic of communication, opportunities for learners to use their information processing skills, and their existing knowledge of a language subject matters. The content focus on reminds that language should not be considered as an end in itself, but as a means of conveying information. The non-linguistic content should generate the communication in the classroom. The language focus gives students a chance to take the language apart, study it carefully, and put it back together. The task should be communicative and give students a chance to use the content and language knowledgeable they have built up. And the primary focus on this model is on the communicative task. The content and language are drawn from the input based on what the student needs to do to complete the task. Okay, here we come with ESP teachers as material writers. And apart from teaching, ESP teacher assume a range of other teaching related roles. Investigating learners' needs and the specialist discourse they need to acquire turn ESP teachers into researchers. Moreover, they are often involved in developing authentic, in-house, tailor-made teaching materials and also act as content knowledgeable instructor. And according to Barnard and Zema, a good material writer should primarily be a good teacher and possess the following linguistic knowledge of the target language, general teaching experience in the relevant specialism, some degree of knowledgeable of the relevant specialism, and an interest the relevant specialism. And Barnard and Zema also consider it vital for ESP teachers to continuously interact with teachers teaching other courses in order to gain an insight into the requirement imposed on students attending those courses. And this is probably the most convenient way to ensure compliance between the ESP course objective and students' real need. Okay, and the next one is familiarity with learning materials available for the specialism. Next is experience of writing general English materials and interest in the learning or teaching process, the ability to work with others, and the ability to assess the clarity and effectiveness of materials and response appropriately. So yeah, that's all from my explanation about the ESP teaching material development. Hope you can understand, and if you have a question, you may type on the comment section. And so yeah, that's all. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you in my next video. Bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.